How's your hand? Ooh. You weren't kidding when you said you had a blistering serve.
Yeah, let's face it, I'm not about to give up my medical practice and go out on the pro tour.
Hey, you know, I thought we were a cinch to win that doubles match. We got off to such a good start.
I know.
But boy, we faded fast.
It's my fault, my fault. By the time we got to the second set, I felt like I was running around with lead weights on my ankles.
Well, I keep telling you, you should get out from behind that desk and get some exercise.
I know, and I ought to follow the advice I give my patients. Don't overdo it on the first day. I'm gonna have to soak in a hot tub tonight, or I'm gonna wake up tomorrow stiff and sore.
Oh, I feel pretty good. My job keeps me running around.
But you're in pretty good shape. Matter of fact, you're in very good shape.
This has been such a nice day.
Has been fun, hasn't it?
Yeah. You know what?
What?
I think we make a pretty good team. And I don't just mean on the court.
Well, I'm not surprised. After all, love is an important part of tennis, isn't it?
You glad we came here?
I'm having a terrific time.
Glad you're enjoying yourself.
I am. After all, tennis is my favorite outdoor sport.
Is that getting those nuts out?
I just feel the tension melting away.
If this is the way you react, we're gonna have to spend weekends away more often.
Yeah, we both work too hard. You know that, don't you?
It's been a long time since I've seen you this relaxed.
Are you saying I'm usually a grouch?
No, of course not. But you know, when we're home, patients call at all hours, and I think getting away from all that has taken a big weight off your shoulders. In fact, I can feel that it has.
Yeah, it's nice not to have to worry about anything except getting my second serve in.
It's so nice to see you in a carefree mood.
Well, listen, I'm here with my beautiful wife in a plush hotel where they're gonna cater to my every whim for the next 2 days. Who wouldn't be happy?
Well, I'm happy wherever I am, as long as I'm with you.
I don't have a care in the world now. I don't have a bad thought about anybody. I bet I could even get along well with Raven at the moment.
Oh, my, you are in a charitable mood. You ran into Raven and Logan in the lobby. You were less than Mr. Sociability.
Oh, really? Is it that obvious? Well, what can I tell you? Not one of my favorite people.
I think you're being unfair. And anyway, Logan is a friend of ours. I'd kind of hate for him to think that we were avoiding him all weekend.
Well, I get along fine with Logan. I suppose I could put up with his wife for a few hours. Why? What do you want to do? Invite him to dinner or something?
I think that would be a nice idea.
All right. I'll just get right up. I'll call the desk, find out what the room is. What time? About 7:30?
7:30 is just fine with me. Whoops. I'll get it.
Doesn't seem fair.
Logan, hi.
Hello.
Come on in.
Hi. How was your tennis?
Oh, we had a really good time.
How was it on the golf course?
Oh, great. Terrific. Well, I had a little run-in with the greenskeeper. He was weeping when I left him, but I told him those divots will grow back.
I hope you're exaggerating.
I lost all my golf balls. Also, I can't find my wife. I thought Raven might be in here visiting with you folks.
Oh, well, we spent the whole afternoon on the tennis court, so just a little while ago we haven't seen her.
Yeah, well, guess she's wandering around the shopping arcade then. A vacation to Raven has always meant a day in a store she's never been in before.
So what are you two doing for dinner?
Nothing special. I hear the restaurant down here in the hotel's real good.
Would you like to make it a foursome?
Be great. I'm sure Raven would love it.
Great. Well, then, if you'll just excuse me, I have to take a shower if I'm going to be ready in time. I'll see you later. Oh, and ask Raven if 7:30's okay.
If I can find her, I'll ask her.
Well, listen, before you start your search, why don't you just come in for a second and have a drink on the patio?
Thank you. Don't mind if I do. I could use that. Don't want to disturb Raven too early in her shopping spree. Anyway, she'd be very upset about that. Just very upset.
Listen, this is probably your last chance to relax before the election, huh?
Hopefully.
When's the campaign get into full swing?
Well, the party leaders get together next week and choose a slate.
Well, you're going to run for another term, aren't you?
As far as I'm concerned, I am, but Afraid that nomination is still up for grabs. I wouldn't be too surprised if my name was not on the ballot next year.
Well, why? You've done a good job.
Except for one indiscretion. That deal I made with Wade Meacham.
Trying to get Winter's film, keep it from being shown.
Yeah.
Now, listen, you know, you probably could have gotten out of that ever coming to light.
No, it had to come out. It had to.
Well, I'm sure the public has forgotten all about it.
The party may not want to take that chance.
Well, then you're gonna have to do what any politician does to get a vote. You're gonna have to start campaigning, I guess.
Yeah. See if anybody on that nominating committee has a baby I can kiss.
Well, they got hands to shake, right? You gotta shake some hands and take your family along. Who can resist a handsome politician with a beautiful baby and a loving wife?
Hey, isn't it about time we put Jamie to bed? Hey, come here.
But he's still wide awake.
Yeah, but I thought we agreed that he wasn't going to be invited to this party
Oh,
tonight.
don't worry, I'll tuck him in a little while.
When do you plan on doing that? We don't have much time. They're going to be here any second.
Oh, my goodness, I didn't realize. Let me get the cheese and the ice. Where'd the day go?
It's been a three-ring circus around here. First of all, we get up early to rearrange furniture. What are you doing? Then Logan drops off the baby, and you spend all day playing with him and preparing dinner, and I end up moving all the furniture to make the place look presentable.
Well, now, don't we just sound like a typical suburban family with absolutely nothing better to do but to lounge around all day in our lovely house?
I still think just getting the house in shape would have been more than enough to keep us busy. Oh, yeah.
Well, I told you, Draper, I couldn't exactly say no to Raven when she asked us to take care of Jamie. It really sounded important to her to get away with Logan for a couple of days.
And, well, having Mike and Nancy over was a big mistake.
I don't
We
know.
should have waited till next weekend.
It's been a long time since we have had a strictly social evening with Mike and Nancy.
Hey, don't give me that. The only reason you want them over here is so you can show off the place.
Well, I don't know. That's not the only reason. You know what a keen decorator's eye Nancy has. I thought maybe she could give us a few hints before absolutely everything was nailed down.
Hey, Nicole, you had Nicole over here. Why didn't you have Nancy over?
Oh, well, I guess I just never got around to it.
April, is that the only reason they're coming over tonight? To talk about, drapes and the sofa?
I don't know.
You're not planning on introducing Mr. Seward's job offer into the conversation, are you?
Oh, well, I guess I just thought it would come up naturally.
That's the reason they're coming over tonight, isn't it? Before Seward made that offer, you had no intention of having anybody over this soon.
Draper, it's a very important decision that you have to make, and it does involve Mike, since it would mean leaving his firm.
You mean you want them to talk me out of it?
No, what I mean is I'm hoping someone can give you an objective opinion of what you'd be giving up.
April, Mike doesn't know about the job offer.
What?
I never told him.
Draper, Mike is your partner. He has a right to know.
I know. I was going to tell him.
Draper, are you afraid of what Mike might say?
Look, April, this is neither the time nor the place to discuss this. They're here. Now, please, not a word of this tonight. Just in time. Come on in. And we come right back in here into the living room. The tour is over.
Oh, this is one of the most charming houses I've ever seen.
It's everything you said it was, Draper.
Oh, we wish you all the happiness.
Thank you, Nancy. Why don't you sit down?
Okay.
April, you've been very quiet since we arrived.
Oh, I'm sorry. I guess I just didn't have too much to say.
Really? Well, it's the first time I've ever seen you at a loss for words when it comes to talking about your new house.
Well, it's been a very hectic week. She probably feels let down.
As a matter of fact, that's exactly how I do feel. Let down.
Look, how about some drinks? I made a whole pitcher of daiquiris.
Sounds good.
April, is there something wrong?
As a matter of fact, there is something wrong.
April, please. Please don't start.
Have we walked into the middle of a domestic crisis?
You find this hard to believe, Mike, but you are right in the middle of it.
April, please.
Come on, Draper. Would you just please tell them?
Mike, I received a job offer.
What? From whom?
From that Philip Seward, you know, the man who came over to see you that day?
Oh, Seward, Paxton, and Whiteside, the man who offered you the job.
Oh, well, they offered Mike a senior partnership. His name right up there on the door and all the money in the world.
Oh, my, you never made it sound quite that grand.
Well, I wouldn't have taken the job even if a yacht and a mansion came with it.
There, you see, Draper?
Draper, when did he make this offer?
Well, the same day he talked to you. He gave me a call, asked me to go out for a drink. He said that he realized he had no hope of getting you to relocate. So he thought of another way of building up the criminal law department. He suggested hiring somebody with less experience who would be willing to take a junior partnership and the promise of a senior partnership in the future.
Wow, that's quite a proposition. And you know the reputation of that firm.
Oh, come on, Mike, the heck with the reputation. I mean, Carr and Scott is just as good as they are. Don't you think so, Nancy?
Yeah, but then I'm prejudiced.
Mike, you know as well as I do that this is the job offer of a lifetime.
What did you say to Mr. Seward?
Well, I told him I would think it over. I'd get back to him. It's a big move. April's not too excited about it.
But, Draper, if Mike turned down the offer in order to stay in Monticello, it couldn't have been that good after all.
Oh, no, wait a minute, April. In all fairness to Mr. Seward, the package he presented to me was most attractive. And it's one of the most prestigious law firms in the country.
Well, then why did you turn them down?
Well, I was honored that Seward would even put out a feeler to me. But our situation in Monticello makes it impractical for us to leave.
Well, Mike has spent so many years cultivating the clients that he represents.
April, I've lived and worked in Monticello for the better part of my life. My roots here are much too deep for us to just pick up and start all over again in New York.
Well, Mike, Draper and I are just starting to lay down our roots. Now, I mean, we haven't even been in our first home a month, and Draper's already thinking about moving.
Oh, it would be a shame to leave such a sweet place.
It would be, but with the real estate market so active, I'll bet they could sell this house today and still make a profit.
Mike, we didn't buy this house as a financial investment. We bought it as an investment in our future.
April, that's what this job is. Now, believe me, we're not going to have any trouble at all finding a house just like this back east.
Yeah, but it won't be this house.
April, with an attitude like that, I could move us into the Taj Mahal and you're not going to be happy.
Fact is, I'm very happy right here.
New York City is a very, very exciting city. I mean, you've never even been there.
You know, I wasn't going to say anything, but I'm going to. I don't think you should lose sight of how costly it is to live in New York. It would take a great deal of money to live there the way you live here.
No, wait a second, Nancy. The money Mr. Seward was talking about, I mean, with all that, we could afford to live in an East Side penthouse overlooking the park.
Draper, I have no desire to move into a city where I don't know a soul.
April, we could make new friends. No, we're not the first couple to relocate for an upward career move.
Well, I just think it's totally unnecessary.
Yeah, well, I owe it to myself to take this job offer very seriously.
Draper, come on. It's ridiculous. Like, Nancy, I mean, please tell Draper that you do agree with me. Well, it is obvious to me that I am a majority of one.
Oh, April, we can't take sides.
Well, there's one thing that Draper refuses to acknowledge as a consideration that is something very important to me.
What's that, April?
Well, we've spent hours discussing what this move would mean for Draper's career, but we haven't really discussed what it would mean for mine.
Now, wait a minute. You haven't exactly spent years training to become an office assistant at WMON.
Draper, I know that right now my job at the station is at a entry-level position, but it's giving me an opportunity to learn the broadcasting business, and I know in time I'd move right up the ladder.
You can apply for another job at a station in New York.
Draper, you know I don't have enough experience to get a job at another station, let alone in a city the size of New York.
Margot has contacts everywhere. I'm sure she would be more than glad to make a couple of phone calls for you.
Nancy, what would you do if Mike asked you to give up your career in order to further his own?
Well, until recently, I hadn't really given it any thought. There hadn't been any reason.
The situation isn't exactly comparable, April. Nancy's been a reporter for a long time. Now, with her experience, she could probably get a job in any newspaper in the country.
And one of the reasons you felt that you had to take this job was to supplement my income. Now, with all the money I've been offered in New York, you won't have to work.
I know that, Draper. But I want to work.
April, your job means a lot to you, doesn't it?
Yes, it does, Nancy. I can't tell you how much I've enjoyed working.
Yeah, you enjoy it so much, you spend more time at the studio than you do here at home.
Oh, and that's something that you haven't appreciated very much. Draper, is that one of the reasons that you want to move to New York and to force me to stay home more?
April, you're the one that couldn't wait to buy this home. Now you never spend any time here.
Oh, I see. I see. Well, I've got the perfect solution. If Draper feels that he's got to be where his work is, and if that's New York, well, this is where my home is and my job. We can write letters a couple of times a week, maybe see each other every once in a while.
That's not even funny, April.
Draper, when does Mr. Seward expect an answer?
Couple of days. I said take my time, think it over, and get back to him.
Well, I don't think we could give you any better advice than that.
This is probably going to be one of the most important choices you'll ever have to make. Now, if the two of you are going to arrive at a decision that you both can live with, you're going to have to sit down and weigh the pluses and minuses very carefully.
Yeah, right now we seem to be at the opposite ends of the spectrum.
Well, compromise can be part of it.
You should try to be as objective as possible about every issue involved.
But, Mike, don't you believe that if Draper left, he'd be making a terrible mistake?
April, that's not for me to judge.
But you and Draper work so well together.
We do, and I'm proud to be associated with him because he's a fine attorney.
And Carr and Scott is one of the most respected law firms in Monticello. Draper has a terrific future for himself right here. I mean, don't you think it'd be foolish for him to leave?
Perhaps, but I can understand the lure of being associated with a firm like Seward, Paxton, and Whiteside.
Mike, I just can't believe that you'd want Draper to go. I mean, I really believe that if you tell Draper how much you want him to stay, he will.
April, that's enough. Mike and Nancy are here as our guests, not to have you use them against me.
Okay, so that's a reservation for 4, 7:30 in the Fox Hunt Lounge. Yeah, Kavanaugh. Thank you. All set.
All set except for one thing. I have to tell Raven, which means I gotta find her.
She's probably back in the room by now.
It's funny. She wanted to come up here for togetherness. We checked in, changed clothes, haven't been together since. It was probably my fault.
You have all tonight, you have all day tomorrow.
I was really looking forward to getting up here. It's just a shame we couldn't have brought Jamie.
Yeah, I kind of miss Adam myself.
You know how it is. You work all during the week. You don't get a chance to see him. The weekend comes. Would have been nice to have a family weekend.
Well, why didn't you do that?
Raven wanted to come here. They don't allow kids. Leaving him behind didn't seem to bother her.
Well, you know what? She's probably, maybe she's a little jealous of all the affection you shower upon him. Maybe she wanted you to come up here so she could have you all to herself.
I think that she's having trouble adjusting to being a mother.
Logan, you're still here.
Yeah, I'm getting out now, though. I'll give you a chance to get dressed.
Oh, wait a minute. Before you go, would you two have any objection if we changed that dinner reservation to 5?
5, who are you thinking of inviting?
Elliot? Well, it seems kind of rude to exclude him from our dinner party.
Well, no one really knows him that well. Don't you think he might feel awkward?
Well, I think we should at least ask. I mean, he's always very nice to us when we go to the Unicorn.
Yeah, he's been very hospitable to Raven and me when we've been there.
And, if it weren't for Margot's generosity, we wouldn't be here in the first place.
This is true.
He probably spent the whole day by himself. I bet he could use some company.
Well, it would be a nice way to repay Margot for her kindness, okay.
Have any objections?
It's fine with me. I'm sure Raven wouldn't mind.
It's all set?
All set.
Good.
I'll see you at 7:30, okay?
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Well, what must be done must be done. Well, why did you call him and invite him, huh?
You know, telephone invitations seem a little bit impersonal to me.
Well, if we mail him the invitation, I don't think he'll get it in time.
Hey, you can get your shoes on a lot faster than I can get dressed. Now, you sit down and put them on and get out there and deliver that invitation in person.
This has been the most wonderful afternoon of my entire life.
Well, there's something very special.
When can we meet again?
As soon as you can.
I think I have to spend some time with my husband.
Well, why don't you tell him to go out and practice his spar, or whatever they call that. And we can take the boat from the marina and meet somewhere for a very private picnic.
I'd like that.
You'd better go. They're gonna look for you. I can't wait to see you again. You better go. Dr. Kavanagh. I think we should better talk about this. Won't you come in?